Good day, everyone. Welcome to the Rural Rapport. I'm your host, Teresa Hoffman, a Senior Communications Associate with the Center for Rural Affairs. In its continued efforts to support small and medium-sized meat processors, the Nebraska Department of Agriculture recently announced that applications will be accepted for a second round of grant funding through the Independent Processor Assistance Program. Since it was established in 2021, the program has helped facilitate improvements or expansions to help increase harvest capacity or production. In 2022, nearly $5 million was awarded to 64 small and medium-sized processors across the state as part of the first round of funding. In the second round, the department will award approximately $5.1 million in grants, which can be used for the modification or construction of buildings, packaging, processing, and storage equipment, technology to improve logistics or enable e-commerce, and workforce training. My guests today are Mark and Trip Cornelius with Cornelius Butchery in Pickerel, Nebraska, which was one of the 64 facilities to receive the funding in the first round. Mark and Trip, thanks again for joining you, or thank you for joining me today.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
Well, first of all, tell me about yourself, how you started in the industry, and a little bit about your facility.
Well, I started with my father. My father was a mobile butcher, and back in the day, he would travel from farm to farm, slaughtering and processing for folks. And so that's how I got started. And we were always doing that. And frankly, I think that's how Trip got started too. Even as a very small child, he was going wherever his grandfather and I went in the slaughtering and processing business. And then we've always done, slaughtering and processing here on our place. And I've always throughout the years, worked at other facilities throughout the Gage County area. So that's kind of how we got started. And
tell me about your facility there.
Yeah. So we started out about as small as anybody could start. We had a state inspected facility where we started out with commercially raising rabbits and raising them for restaurants and grocery stores. And so we had that. And then when we were still doing a little bit of larger livestock, and then when COVID hit, that went wild.
I bet that kind of leads me into our next question. So efforts to establish the Independent Processor Assistance Program came at a time when small lockers like yours across the state were seeing increased demand, which for many, like you said, started during the COVID-19 pandemic. Share what it was like to go through that time, what challenges you saw, and what you heard from others.
We were at the time still farming, and which we still do now, but not personally. We're hiring most of that done these days, just to keep up with demand here in the locker. But before we even started to plant that year, we were getting phone calls from people. Hey, I've got hogs I want to get done. I've got beef I want to get done. We've got this or that we want to get done. And because they couldn't get them in other places. And frankly, a lot of the producers were worried they were going to have to exterminate, euthanize their livestock. And but when we got done in the field that spring, we were all we were doing 6 and 7 days a week was slaughtering and processing livestock.
Wow.
Yeah.
So obviously a tough time for you, Trip. What did you kind of see during that? What was your experiences?
At the time, I was helping Dad, of course, in the field, and I had a night job as a CNA at Good Samaritan Society in Beatrice. And during the day when that was going on, I would come from a COVID-19 lockdown facility at Good Sam and come work here all day with we were mainly doing hogs at the time because they were getting rid of the hogs. They had nowhere to go. So a lot of people were panic buying meat at the time and storing up and trying to save what they could. And because hogs were cheap, and everybody kind of jumped on that wagon when it was available. And it was sun up, sundown. I'd go back to work at night, get home, and then do that all day. Then I'd kind of keep the routine going. It was just nonstop busy for a long time, and it still is busy.
Yeah. So certainly a busy time for everyone, you guys included, during that time. So you applied for the grant during the first round of funding. How did you use that? How did you use that grant funding to help your facility?
We used that to buy newer and bigger equipment to become more efficient. At that time, it was just Trip and I working. We now have 2 employees and hope to get more in the future. But that money we used for, like I said, new equipment, a larger freezer,
Bank loan funding.
Yeah, and it freed us up to use other monies to start our expansion, our building expansion.
Okay. Well, great. And you've also shared with center staff that you're hoping to become a USDA inspected facility, and that will open up new markets, opportunities, and is a big business opportunity for you. So tell me about making that decision. What does this mean for your business, your customers, livestock producers?
For a long time, we thought we just wanted to remain custom exempt. And as we looked at it more and more, talking with USDA inspectors, talking with state inspectors, talking with people at the University of Nebraska, we just noticed that there was just a lot more business opportunities if we could go and maintain a USDA certification. And not only does it open up a lot of doors for us, where we make a lot of ethnic, regional, old-fashioned products, and we'll be able to in turn sell those to other retailers and things like that. But it's going to open up a lot of doors for local producers too. And I always like to say, we're in this to make money, eventually, but we're also in this to serve our community. And I'm very excited about being able to offer that to the local farmers around here, where they can, we can buy a beef off the farm and then highlight that in our meat case and say, this is locally grown, locally produced, and be able to offer that to people in the area. And I know that means a lot to a lot of people to be able to source their food locally. And it's gonna mean a lot, I think, to the local farmers that wish to do that, and maybe even sell under their own label at some point.
Well, it also seems to, it could set you guys up for a great future. So Trip, that has to be a good prospect for you,
Yes.
kind of being the younger one in the business right now. Talk about how this sets you up for the future and what that means to you.
It builds a relationship with our surrounding community, even here on Pickerel and even farther out into Beatrice and Diller. And we've even gone down into Kansas with people. And, it builds relationships with the farmers, and they connect with us, and we can connect with the other people. And so they can deliver better quality meat, locally sourced, better tasting meat than what you can get out of a grocery store. And I know that's something that a lot of people now want. They want more organic, raised locally, fed locally, something that you couldn't get anywhere else than what we got here in Nebraska right now.
And along
Yeah.
with that, we hope to highlight our own brands, like meat sticks, sausages, charcuteries,
Jerky.
cured products of all kinds. That's really what we love to do the most, and we're hoping to really be able to highlight those products and bring some products to the community that they wouldn't be able to get anywhere else, or unless they were in a big city or something like that.
Well, definitely, I think local demand is really out there from all parts of the state. So the Independent Processor Assistance Program we've been discussing today is one of many efforts launched since the pandemic. There have been other state and federal programs. Other entities such as the center are offering loans. While each of these programs has its specific qualifications and goals, overall, what has it been like to see this type of support for local processors such as yourself?
Well, I think for a long time it was an overlooked industry that was, and a lot of people's eyes were opened during the pandemic period, when we saw that big link in the food chain all of a sudden look like it could disappear, and food shortages might occur. And so, yeah, it's good. I'm happy that people all of a sudden realize how important of an industry these small lockers and producers are. And it's just really nice to see some attention paid to what I always felt like was really an overlooked part of the industry, for sure.
Trip, what about you? You're a younger person, you're getting into this business, it's a family business.
Mhm.
What's this kind of, I guess, help you look at the future of the industry?
I hope for us to keep growing, and this is a generational thing. Someday I'm going to be my father's age, and I'm going to have children of my own that's going to be passed down, and hopefully that they would keep passing it down. It's something that's going to keep getting carried on, a tradition to serve the community, serve your friends and neighbors, and just kind of come together from there.
So I'm going to give you guys a chance to kind of brag on your industry a little bit here and talk about the benefits. So what are the benefits of local independent meat processors to your local economy, the food supply, and even local farmers who want to sell their meat?
Well, I think there's a tremendous amounts of benefits. Um, People can, people are able to reach out to us. We're able to get them, the livestock product that they want, turn it into delicious meat, and we are able to customize it to their exact specifications. Whether that be what cuts they like or don't like, how thick they like their steaks or pork chops, how many they want in a package, how they want it packaged, and all of those things.
And they can be as adventurous as they like. We cut crazy steaks all the time. It sounds like, well, I looked this up. Can you do this? Like, well, we could try. Or we really like this sausage. It's like a Swedish potato sausage. We had it when we were a little kid with grandma. Could you guys make this? Yes. That's something else we offer. We offer a lot of ethnic and regional things around here. The old Germans called it Saus or head cheese or Knick or Ethernetzi. Like, oh my God, I remember having that with great grandma at tea time or something. And we're like, well, we can still make that stuff for you. And a lot of people were really excited. But then there's some people like, oh, I never liked that.
Well, bringing back memories for sure.
Yes.
And maybe creating new ones for future generations. I bet that's exciting.
And the sausage making and the curing, it's not only our business, it's always been our hobby as well. It's always been one of our main interests. So it's something that we're using a lot of recipes that have been handed down for generations. I mean, some of the recipes we make are probably like our bratwurst recipe is probably as old as bratwurst, itself. So it's fun to be able to offer those things to the public.
Yeah, I think it's great, and I think it's becoming an industry that people want to maybe, experience new tastes, new flavors, new products. I know I'm somebody who is really kind of, you mentioned beef sticks and jerky. Those are really favorites of mine, and I really enjoy going to places like yours where I can find different, I'm a little bit more adventurous with my tastes these days, and so I think
Sure.
having those local processors has really helped me explore my food preferences, and I'm sure opened it up to a lot more people. And I think through this program has really been helping that. So I appreciate you guys joining me today. Just want to let people know that applications for this second round of funding will be accepted through the NDA's online platform. It's called Amply Fund. And the deadline to apply is February 16th. Information and the application, some frequently asked questions can be found on the NDA's website, which I'll include a link below in the comments. Again, thank you guys for joining me, and thank you all for tuning in to this month's Rural Rapport. If you'd like to learn more about the Center for Rural Affairs, visit our website at cfra.org. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you for having
Thank you.
us.